What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are in Texas at the Ford Off Roadeo with the all-new Ford Bronco. Bilstein invited us out here. They are the suspension manufacturers on the new Bronco, so shout out to Bilstein. Today has been awesome already. We have been shredding the trails with the new Bronco. We already did a full review driving this 4-door blue one that Mike is blocking. We did a full review on that one, linked down below. But today's video, for this video, we're going to talk about, is this the new standard? Because, I mean, what do you think of it so far?
So I think, especially the Wrangler, they're definitely going to have to step up their market or step up their game for the next generation for those models. Ford blew it out of the park with the Bronco being a very, very competitive off-roading SUV.
Yes.
That provides a lot, both on-road performance, which we'll have a video down below, as well as off-road like we're doing today. And with the trail and the terrain that we've been on so far, and personally from owning a Wrangler, I mean, Wrangler definitely has to step it up. Even though they have some more power options for engine, you know, anyone could go in a straight line, right, with more power, but
true.
Off-road, I mean, the Bronco's definitely stepping up the off-road industry.
And then with Toyota, you know, the FJ Cruiser's gone, the 4Runner's kind of all they have left, which doesn't really compete. We really do think the new Bronco has the best of a 4Runner and a Wrangler all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna drive on the trails again. We have about 13 or so other Broncos. We have some 2-doors, which look pretty cool. You can tell there's a pretty big size difference between a 4-door. But we are gonna basically just go cruising the trails again and talk about, is this the new standard? Alright, so we are now in the Bronco back on the trails. So to talk about why the Bronco is pretty much, I think, going to be the new standard of these off-road SUVs.
There we go.
As I do some articulating, we'll keep the sway bars off. First thing I think is ride quality. We've been driving this Bronco off-road all day. We've already driven them on the street. And hitting these bumps right now, you know, all these rocks in the roads going downhill, it's so solid. It's not jittery like you find in the Wrangler, and it doesn't feel heavy like a 4Runner.
It's very smooth too with that Bilstein suspension too, with the digressive shocks.
Yes.
We actually have, I forgot what the exact terminology is, but we have a lot of travel in the suspension, and then once it gets to basically fully extended or fully compressed, we have a bit of a cushion that allows us to have that soft ride quality both on-road and off-road. And from experience with, you're good there, from experience with my Wrangler, it definitely doesn't bounce around as much as the solid front axle did. Yeah, like this bump right there, I like how with the suspension, it doesn't beat you up every time you stop or hit something. It does have that, you know, that nice squishy spot at the top and the bottom of the travel. I mean, we're bouncing around a little bit, but you could tell in the Wrangler, it was much more harsh with that solid front axle. Now, obviously the solid front axle gives you more articulation, but with the sway bar disconnect, we still have a good bit of articulation.
So I think ride quality is just a big topic for the Bronco because you have the independent front suspension, inherently it's going to be better than a solid front axle. And then with the suspension, the way everything is built, it's just so much more solid feeling to where you get ride quality like you would find in a 4Runner, but I think way less brake dive and body roll.
True.
But then again, it's tight enough to not be jittery like a Jeep, but then still loose enough to do everything off-road. I'd say 95% of the things a Wrangler can do, this is going to be able to do. It's only the people that are going to go hardcore rock crawling with 44s. Those people probably need solid front axle, but I think 95% of the people, I think this is going to do everything, and you don't have to sacrifice having the horrible ride quality.
Right.
Alright guys, so the next point I'm going to talk about is the technology available in the Bronco. Right now I'm using basically the downhill assist. I have it set at 1 mile an hour, and I'm not on the brake or the gas or anything. I'm simply steering, have the sway bar disconnect off as well. And the Bronco is going to do everything pretty much to get me safely down this hill. It's going to monitor the braking and everything to do everything I need it to do. And along with that technology, this Bronco still has the mechanical functions to do everything. But the technology offer, I mean, I'm going down a very steep thing. I'm on 3 wheels right there. And, I mean, it does it. It knows how to do it. And some of the guys do not have all of that technology in their Broncos, and they are still doing everything very well.
How was that?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then if I lock my rear diff, we're just going right up here. So even if you're a newbie at off-roading, the technology can get you going.
What'd you have? Did you do the downhill assist?
Downhill
or the trail?
assist at 1 mile an hour.
Yep.
Manual mode left in first gear, and now just use the lock and diff to get here.
Yeah,
so it has the technology to do everything if you're new, but then you can turn it all off, and functionally with all your skill,
yeah,
you can still pilot the car because it's capable, you know?
So you can learn as you go.
Yeah.
Become an expert, and if you need those.
So yeah, point number 2, tech.
Yeah.
You have all the off-road tech you could ever need, and availability to use it or not.
You had wheels off the ground.
I know.
A few times.
That was
I got
awesome.
that angle for you. Number 3 on the list, while we have Bronco traffic in front of us, is going to be the looks of the all-new Bronco. Now, of course, looks is going to be subjective, but in our personal opinion, this looks more of a hardcore off-roader than the Wrangler. It has that presence to it.
It's got the retro look, but still modern. And the Jeep, I mean, it's been around forever, and realistically, it's been unchanged forever.
The Bronco is old in a modern way, like especially with that grille design. It has a huge presence to it.
And when you look at maybe a 4Runner, it's just a normal looking SUV. So I think Bronco or Ford, they knocked it out of the park to bring it something all new inside and out, and yet give it that retro look. I think the Jeep, it's almost like they need to change it, even though it's so iconic.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting what actually has to happen for the next generation Jeep, because I think the looks wise, something has to actually change, which will upset a lot of Jeep owners, but something does have to change to make it newer and more up to date, because I think this just looks awesome.
Now, I will say we've talked to a few Bronco owners here that have said, you know, going down the highway, people come up behind them thinking it's a Wrangler because you have that full-size spare. So the rear end of it doesn't really have...
It looks a little Jeepy.
It looks like a Jeep because you have the same door handle, the same spare tire, taillights are much different. But then
still.
Some of the owners say, you know, someone will pass them and then have to slow down or go around them to get a second look at it. So it's something that you have to look at twice if you're not a car person. If you're watching this video, you probably already know what the Bronco looks like. The real Bronco.
It stands out. It stands out, and I think they killed the design in a good way, because a lot of times when cars make like a new retro look, sometimes it just looks like crap.
Yeah.
So, and then the interior wise, I think again, it's just so much nicer than the Jeep. Like you have the big screens, LCD, nicer materials. It just feels like that, like we said, that good blend of normal car, and yet hardcore off-roader. This is a nicer vehicle inside now for sure.
Yeah.
So the next topic we wanted to talk about is the usability of the doors and roof. Of course, this has the ability to take the doors and roof off. And I think Ford did a good job making it really easy. Like while driving like that, you can just throw this soft top back, and you can even zip off the entire rear windows to where you just have a really cool, convenient top-down experience. And same with the 2-door. And then the hardtop as well is super functional with a whole rear section to come off, which you don't get in the Jeep. And obviously the 4Runner, you know, it's a normal vehicle. And then the doors, you can take them with you, you know?
Yeah, I think the hardtop is a really big plus, because on my Jeep, I could never take it off from the seats back.
It's like a two-person job.
I was only doing the front 2 panels because there's nowhere to store it. It makes it a lot more convenient when you have that smaller section, and apparently you're supposed to be able to take all that with you. You can take the whole hardtop with you, I think.
With the Bronco, right?
With the Bronco, yes, from what I've heard.
You can take all the panels with you, and you can take the doors. The Jeep, you're stuck with not taking them with you, so you have to choose doors off or not.
Yeah, and I had that dilemma a lot. You remember? It was like, man, I have to go out and put those doors back on.
And I also like how they're pillarless doors, as you guys have seen, which makes it to where you don't have that window frame, which makes these half the size of the Jeep doors.
That's why they can fit all 4 in the back.
Exactly.
In some really nice bags.
And I think just Ford really took the issue with being able to remove half of your vehicle. They took that and said, okay, well, how can we make that more convenient, easier to use, and just better?
Now, it's either one or the other, roof or the doors in the back. But
you can only go so far,
But
unless you have like a trailer hitch after.
That's still, but that's still better than all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part.
Yeah, so I think Ford, they listened to probably Jeep owners and said, hey, let's do it this way.
Yeah, let's go ahead and try to close it while you're still talking.
To close it, it's a little bit easier on the street, but
there we go.
Look at that, not bad at all.
And we're done. Now, it does help to have someone in the backseat there, and I could stand up and do it, but...
Yeah. But, I think the functionality of this vehicle is what makes it stand out as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many vehicles, there's not many vehicles you can take apart, which is cool enough, but then you can take it apart and take stuff with you and just more usable, more versatile. So then the last thing is options. So we are in a Badlands. We're pretty fully loaded. We don't have all the camera system and things like that.
So yeah, we have the smaller screen set up.
Smaller screen, just normal backup camera, but with sway bar disconnect, locking differentials, which I don't even have on right now as we're going up this loose gravel thing. I really think you can spec a Bronco to get exactly what you want. A lot of people think that the Bronco Sport is part of this big boy Bronco. That's a completely different vehicle based off of the Ford Escape. So even though there's a Wrangler Sport, a lot of people think the Bronco Sport is a competitor.
And it's completely different.
Yeah, but when you look at just the big Bronco that we're in, 2-door, 4-door, hardtop, soft top, manual or automatic. You can get, what are we having, a 2.7 liter twin turbo
This is the, we're the 2.3 liter EcoBoost.
4-cylinder.
4-cylinder, yeah. Now the Wrangler obviously has some more engine options. There's the diesel, there's the V8s.
Yeah.
Which maybe Ford will bring to the market.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
They love the EcoBoost.
Personally, I don't see why you need all that power in a Wrangler, but I could see it being beneficial for hardcore off-roading with larger tires or something like that.
It's cool, and it is, of course, an advantage for the Jeep.
Right.
But nonetheless, you still have two very attractive engine options for this, and the V6 in the Bronco is fast enough.
Yeah.
The 4-cylinder we drove on road, I didn't need it being any faster. It's not a Ferrari or something.
Now, I'd stick with this engine option.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting, across the board, no matter what engine option you choose, they all have a 3,500 pound towing capacity. So you're not buying them for towing.
Yeah, same
just
with
to throw that in there with the engine.
Same with the Wrangler.
Yeah.
But it's nice with the options, it's also easier to figure out because on the Jeep side, a base model Sahara is like a Sport S. There's like no difference. What's the point?
Yeah, that's true.
The only difference is silver trim or something. So I like how with the Bronco, they're very different. Each trim level, there's not really like extra options per trim level. You pick the trim and just maybe spec out a color. I don't like cars where there's so many options where you can spec out a base model and be as expensive as like a loaded model. I think Ford just did a little bit better. But I think those are kind of all the topics as to why I think the Bronco is the new leader. It's all new. I think Ford has kind of been chilling in the background, being very successful with the Raptor project. And they've been just chilling in the background saying, all right, how do we bring an SUV to market that's going to dominate?
Yeah.
And not being a fanboy, I mean, our dad owns a 4Runner, he owned a Wrangler, so if anything, we've owned the competition, and now we're in this one. I'd put my money on this, and if I need an SUV ever one day,
I would buy one
I'd get
at
this.
some point, yeah.
I don't think I'd get anything else if I needed an SUV. And I'd get a 4-door just because of the extra size.
Yeah.
But is that it, Mike, for today's video?
I think that's it. We need to enjoy the scenery here.
Yeah, we have a few more hours.
This is awesome.
Beautiful day here in Texas with the air conditioning on, luckily. But I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Huge shout out to Bilstein for inviting us down here to enjoy the Ford Off Roadeo with the all-new Bronco. What a beast of a truck. And suspension seriously is killing it in this thing. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all next video.